This is the first episode of the Liberty Starship live stream. We are a political show that takes you beyond the typical terrestrial politics. I am here with my co-host, Peter, and my name is Eric. Eric, I have actually been involved with Liberty politics since Ron Paul's last presidential run, as you can see on my avatar there. I have a picture there with Ron Paul from the time that I was involved with his campaign. He was the person that really got me involved in politics. And that is actually how I met Peter. Peter, did you want to introduce yourself a little bit?
Yeah, sure. I've been involved in politics for a little over a decade. I've been a national delegate, a state delegate from Arizona. And as he said, we're going past the terrestrial topics here because a lot of what you see on the news it isn't real. It's a distraction. And if there's one thing we want to talk about in this podcast, it's that most of the debates that we have, most of what you hear on talk radio, it's not real. It's a distraction. The news stories aren't relevant. They don't give you anything you can act upon. They're really not relevant to your life. And so we want to go beyond the obvious headlines and explain from our backgrounds exactly how the political system really works, because we've seen to some degree how the sausage is made. So
yes, and Peter and I used to be involved in a nonpartisan political group called the Arizona Liberty Caucus in Arizona. That was a nonprofit organization, and it was nonpartisan. We had all sorts of different political views in that particular group, of everything from an anarchist to probably the most conservative people you've ever met. So, and everything in between. So we kind of ran the gamut in that group. I am still located in Arizona right now. And currently, I would say that I'm not heavily involved in the local politics here. That may change, but currently I'm not.
Closed location. So.
Yeah, there you go. So, but yeah, I'm still in Arizona. Unfortunately, the Arizona Liberty Caucus is no longer active, which is a shame. That was actually a good organization.
Right, but the Republican Liberty Caucus is. Now, that's a partisan organization, but it does really good work. I don't know if you saw today, Nick Tumbalides, I think is how you say his name. I know we're friends on Facebook. He was before Congress talking about term limits, and that was going around. My grandparents saw it and forwarded it on to me. I said, "Oh, hey, I know that guy." So the RLC is a great organization. There's a chapter in Arizona, and they're doing great work to spread the message of liberty in Arizona. So.
Yeah, he came to some of our meetings, right? He actually spoke at some of our meetings, I believe.
I bet he did.
Back in the day. So, like I said, it's been a while since I've been involved to that level. We used to host meetings over at Tempe Marketplace in Tempe, Arizona. We also used to host meetings over at the American Legion in Old Town Scottsdale, which I was a member of at that time. Just a little bit more on my background. I actually was in the Navy Reserve for 6 years. I also have a background in public safety as a first responder, which I did for 20 years. I have worked in both the local level of government and the federal level of government, so to speak. So that's kind of where my experience comes from. I did have some work in the private sector prior to that, and currently I'm involved in the private sector, actually doing film production.
Sure.
So,
which is a completely different deal. Yeah, and I think your background in the Navy gives you a different perspective on foreign policy than a lot of other people who just see it on TV. So, what's that?
One of the interesting things I remember about the days of the Ron Paul campaign when he was running for the presidential nomination for the Republican Party, it was really interesting to see how many veterans were supporting him. In fact, the local campaign chairman here in Arizona, he was a veteran, and he had quite a few veterans that supported him, pretty much all over the place. There was prominent members of our group that were veterans as well, and were heavily involved in the cause. So I think the main thing that for me that I learned on some of the different issues of the day, of the week. We plan to do this show every week, every Monday at this time. Go for just about an hour, and we'll each have a topic, and we'll also talk about some of the news that's going on, which we're going to actually term daily distractions.